Most people think a good relationship means never fighting, always feeling excited, and everything just being perfectly effortless. But honestly, that's not real. And believing that movie version of romance can actually make a completely healthy relationship feel like it's failing. Hi, I'm Rahul. On this channel, I cover health, wealth, and relationships. Today, in this explainer, I'm going to share 5 real signs of a healthy relationship, even on the days it doesn't feel perfect. So let me ask you this. Does a good relationship actually mean never fighting? We are constantly bombarded by the societal expectation that true love is just effortless and exciting all the time. But let's be real. When you put two distinct individuals together, friction is totally inevitable. If you're constantly aiming for zero conflict, you are just setting yourself up for disappointment and exhaustion. Okay, let's dive into this comparison. The movie version demands that everything is effortless, constantly thrilling, and has absolutely zero arguments. But the real version? It's entirely different. It is safe, honest, and steady. That exhausting illusion of constant perfection actually drains a partnership. What truly sustains a long-term bond is that grounded reality where both people just feel secure.
Sign number 1, disagreeing without a battle. Let me reassure you right now, every single couple disagrees. It's perfectly normal. It's not a red flag. What actually matters is keeping the conflict focused on the issue rather than spiraling into personal attacks and blame. To do that, we have to look at the psychology of self-regulation. People who demonstrate greater self-control and grit tend to have way more successful relationships. Grit stands for growth, resilience, interest, and tenacity. When a disagreement gets heated, tapping into self-control and grit stops us from acting impulsively, which prevents those damaging attacks and protects your relationship's long-term health.
The ultimate test of this first sign comes down to one simple question. After a disagreement, do you both still feel respected even if you didn't fully agree? If the answer is yes, that is a healthy pattern, not a problem. This ability to disagree while maintaining mutual respect is absolutely crucial.
Sign number 2, honesty about the small things.
Now, what's really interesting here is how we handle mental loads. In unhealthy dynamics, people often bottle up small truths, what they actually feel, or tiny daily frustrations just to avoid conflict. They're constantly walking on eggshells. Take the concept of food noise, for example. This is the persistent, intrusive thoughts and decision fatigue around what to eat. Silently carrying a daily mental load like that causes burnout. If you can say to your partner, "I'm totally overwhelmed by planning meals," or "Hey, that small thing you did actually bothered me," without fear, that builds real deep trust, even if it's not super dramatic.
This level of honesty is especially crucial when it comes to financial habits. Look, many of us have money habits that quietly cancel out any progress we make, like spending first and just saving whatever happens to be left over, or treating small recurring debts as a normal part of life. Openly discussing these habits, deciding together to save a fixed amount first, and treating debt as an urgent priority rather than the status quo totally prevents resentment. Tackling these issues as a team means you never have to hide your financial reality.
Sign number 3, a life outside the relationship.
There is this common myth out there that a strong relationship means you have to spend all your time together and share every single interest. But if you don't cultivate your own independent life, you are far more vulnerable to the psychological traps of the digital age. Without personal fulfillment outside the partnership, it's so easy to fall into upward social comparison on platforms like Instagram, feeling FOMO or just a deep sense of inadequacy. Research shows these digital pressures severely lower self-esteem. Having your own offline life, your own friendships and hobbies is actually your best defense.
And speaking of devices, we absolutely have to talk about phubbing, or phone snubbing. This is when you pay attention to your phone instead of your partner. Research has found that constantly choosing screens over the person you're with triggers intense feelings of rejection. In fact, being phubbed activates the exact same brain regions as physical pain. It drastically reduces empathy and relationship satisfaction.
And the damage from our devices doesn't stop at emotional rejection. The blue light emitted by our screens suppresses melatonin production by up to 50%. To put that into perspective, melatonin isn't just for sleep. It interacts with the hormonal cascade that supports physical desire. By scrolling in bed, you're completely disrupting the sleep and hormones that are absolutely essential for intimacy. And this brilliantly illustrates how we can fix it using a psychological framework called habit stacking. The cue routine reward loop lets you build a new habit right on top of an existing one. For example, step 1, your trigger, is entering the bedroom. Step 2, your new routine, is charging the phone in another room entirely. Step 3, the reward, is a tech-free transition zone that fosters real quality connection. It's a simple, sustainable boundary.
Sign number 4, support during hard times.
It is incredibly easy to feel connected when things are going perfectly well. But the real test is how your partner shows up during stress, illness, or setbacks. And we live in an era that tests this constantly. According to World Health Organization data, employees working in modern, always-on environments are 23% more likely to experience burnout. This chronic stress and emotional exhaustion puts an immense strain on any partnership.
When burnout hits, recovery requires a deliberate 5-step reset. Recognize the problem, remove the overload, restore balance with sleep and nutrition, rebuild resilience, and reach out for help. A healthy partner is someone who shows up consistently to support you through this messy recovery process. They don't have to do it perfectly, but that consistency matters far more than how exciting the relationship feels day to day.
Sometimes true support means acknowledging that you can't fix everything yourself and helping your partner access professional help. The great news is that getting professional support is more accessible than ever. High-quality, verified, and licensed online therapy in India now starts at just 799 rupees a session. Supporting your partner in seeking this care is a profound act of love.
Sign number 5, no need to constantly prove your worth. Let's move to this next point and see how this builds. In toxic dynamics, people constantly feel like they have to perform to earn love, walking on eggshells. But a healthy relationship means feeling entirely secure with your flaws. Researchers found that the mere presence of a phone on the nightstand reduces perceived intimacy. Why? Because offering your partner your undivided, embodied attention without any digital distraction is the absolute clearest way to validate their worth. It says, "You matter more to me than everything inside this device."
So let's gently recap the 5 real signs of a healthy relationship. First, healthy disagreement without it becoming a battle. Second, feeling comfortable being honest about the small things. Third, having a fulfilling life outside the relationship. Fourth, showing up for each other during the hard times. And fifth, feeling secure without constantly needing to prove your worth. Remember, a relationship doesn't need to feel like a movie to be healthy. It needs to feel safe, honest, and steady. Which of these signs stood out to you the most? I'd love for you to reflect on that and let me know in the comments below. If true connection isn't about the total absence of friction, but rather how you manage that friction together, what small step can you take today to build a more grounded, real relationship? If this explainer helped bring some clarity to what actually matters, please hit that subscribe button. I share more insights on health, wealth, and relationships every week. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.